At the end of the week, Russia will most likely be voted into the World Trade Organization after 18 years of applying for membership. Russia's entrance is being hailed by many around the world as a game changer, making Russia's economy more dynamic, liberal, and better for foreign investment and business. However, Stratfor sees little real change that wasn't already underway and managed by the Kremlin for other reasons. WTO membership won't address Russia's key economic sector, which is energy, but the widespread theory being floated by promoters of Russian accession in the WTO is that membership will repeal Russian protectionism of its economy, particularly in the key sectors of agriculture, banking, automotive, and metals. Also that it will create a functioning arbitration process for foreign firms to launch complaints against Russian practices. There is potential for real improvement in Russia economically due to WTO membership. Russian gross domestic product could rise by 3.7% in the next 5 years as a member. Russian inflation could potentially drop due to more competition. Russia's auto industry is hoping to triple in size in the coming years, contingent on foreign assistance. Russia's IT sector could accelerate and modernize with international software customs tariffs in Russia being dropped. But these economic improvements were all things that Russia was planning on anyway, and has really nothing to do with WTO membership. In 2010, Russia launched its ambitious modernization and privatization sister programs, which opens Russia back up to foreign investment and business. In the years before, Russia had aggressively consolidated its economy in strategic sectors, purging most of foreign activity in the country. Now comfortable with its level of control in the country, Russia is thinking about the future and wants to have a more robust and modern business sector. So the country is opening back up. However, this is not a liberalization or investment scheme as seen in the 1990s. The Kremlin is carefully managing who exactly can do business in Russia and how much, in order to ensure they can always control what takes place inside the country. In theory, the WTO membership would prevent the Kremlin from doing this, but the Kremlin is going to do what it wants, WTO membership or not. Russia has been watching China and its membership in the WTO as an example. China was admitted into the WTO with the goal that it would draw closer to international trade norms. However, the Chinese government has made it clear that it will not live up to all the expectations of the WTO. Moreover, China has become adept at using the WTO mechanisms to avoid significant punitive trade action by the United States and others, exploiting the time it takes to process a WTO complaint to gain ground before compromising. Russia has been taking careful notes of all of this and will most likely also find inventive ways to manipulate WTO rules in order to ensure it keeps full control over the Russian economy and business sector. The other major problem in the WTO membership is who Russia does business with. Majority of Russian business, trade, and investment is with two groups, Europeans and former Soviet states. The Europeans are currently undergoing a massive financial crisis that leaves them with little room in which to expand their sectors, especially to a place as expensive to do business as Russia. Most of the former Soviet states are already in trade pacts with Russia, so WTO membership will do little to impact Russian trade with either group. The only real country that has a chance to move into Russia with WTO membership is the United States. The U.S. does relatively little trade with Russia currently, with Russia accounting for less than 1% of U.S. exports and imports, and the U.S. accounting for little over 3% of Russian exports and 4% of Russian imports. But of all the WTO members, the U.S. is the one that may not be able to recognize Russian membership. Currently, there is a Cold War-era law on the books in the U.S., Jackson-Vanik, that bars trade relations with certain countries guilty of human rights violations, something that was repealed for other states in the 1990s, like China, when it gained membership in the WTO. This law must be repealed before the U.S. can officially recognize Russian membership in the WTO. Now, this means that Russia will still be able to become a member of the WTO, and U.S. businesses can expand in Russia. However, it means that Moscow will be under no obligation to live up to WTO standards with U.S. goods and businesses, making Russian entrance into the organization even less important to do business in Russia.